Here we are. Today I'm so excited to share with you one of my favorite topics, and it's how to care for hummingbirds, feeders, and also how to make your own nectar. Woo! So you're going to see our little guy trying to buzz in and out. So at the end of this video, I'm going to step out of the picture so you can watch him. He's a ruby red throat, my favorite. I call him Little Redneck. So he has a red throated area, and which is why I call him my Little Redneck. Appropriate for Georgia, right? So pay attention, and I hope that you'll all share this video because this is a season that all of these beautiful birds are flying in for their nectar, for food sources. And they've just gotten in, I guess, probably at least about a month ago. So I'm a little late on this video, but I don't want you to miss it because there's a lot of misinformation out there about how to care for hummingbirds. Mainly like how to clean their feeders, how to make their nectar. So behind me is one of my feeders. So I've spun it around, and if you want to make your own nectar, great. If you don't and you're buying it from the store, make sure it is not red. So read the label and make sure it doesn't say that there's red dye in there because that can be very harmful to them. So you want the nectar to be clear. So they're attracted to red and other colors, but especially red on food nectars. So your little flowers here are red. The bottle itself is red. You don't need red nectar. Also, if you've got one of these feeders, you can see it's red. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to keep the bees and the ants out. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, if you're just getting your hummingbird feeders out, it's not too late. There are plenty of these little birds flying around looking for some easy food sources. Of course, they love to eat insects, and so it's great if you can have other insect-attracting plants that they like near the feeders that are colorful, like butterfly plants, flowers that have orange on them. I could just go into all kinds, but if they've got beautiful coloration on the plants, like orange, yellow, red, purple even, they love them. So you could put those near your feeders, and there you've got butterflies. You will have some bees attracted to those. Bees are perfectly fine. We need them in our environment. Try not to kill bees. Yellow jackets, that's another story. I kill those things. Lisa Bartlett at Smith Gilbert is not going to like hearing me say that. So anyway, I tried to get her for an interview to do this, but she was unavailable. Bless her heart, she's great. Speaking of Smith Gilbert, check out in September when the hummingbirds are migrating. They're leaving our area and they're heading for their journey down to South America. They've got a long flight. So at Smith Gilbert Gardens here in Kennesaw, Georgia, they do a banding of the hummingbirds. If you've never gone to see this, you don't want to miss it. It is amazing. And take your kids with you because they'll pull the kids out of the audience to actually help the banding people put a band and release them. It's pretty neat. Okay, so where were we? All right, so back to the feeders. The first thing you want to do is wash them. So I just get a good old bucket of water and I make it warm, soapy water. With our cleaning service Made in America, one of our favorite products is Blue Dawn. It's not harmful, great for cleaning and cutting grease. And then I also add a little dab of white vinegar. So you're going to go and do some Googling and you're going to find out that some people will recommend cleaning your feeders with water and bleach. Oh my gosh. So don't do that. We don't need to add bleach to anything. Vinegar is what's going to clean and disinfect, get rid of any mold. And of course, you might just need a cloth. I mean, what the heck? Don't use bleach. And so that's all you need. And then, you might want to, when you're cleaning out your hummingbird feeder, like I said, I just throw everything into a bucket of water, and then I get my detailing brush, kind of clean around the little nodules here. You take everything apart, make sure there's no mold inside. and rinse it out really good, and then you're done. You're ready to go. Now you're ready to make your nectar. But I'm going to tell you that in the hot summer months here in Georgia, you're going to want to probably clean your hummingbird feeders out about once a week, or when you start seeing that the nectar is getting kind of cloudy, probably time to clean the feeders. So just have your bucket handy, soapy, vinegar, water, and you're ready to go. Make sure it's rinsed out real good. So enough of that. And so how do you make your nectar? It's so simple. Some sources will tell you to boil your water. You know, I don't boil water. I just make sure that my water is purified, and I have a purifier on my faucet, and I also have a special purifier that we drink from. So I try to use our special drinking purifying water to actually put in the feeders, you know, because they're animals and I'm an animal. So I want them to have the best. So, all right, I'm going to switch over here because this is where all of your goodies are for making your nectar. Okay, you want 4 parts water to 1 part sugar. You know, when I first started doing this, I thought, you know, because everything that I like to consume myself as much as I can, I get organic. But I was told by a professional source not to get the organic sugar, just to get regular white granulated sugar. So that's what I have here. And I always keep my little measuring cup in there. You want to take 1/4 sugar, 1 cup of water, or it's a ratio of 1 to 4, okay? And I just make it really, really, really warm water when I put it in my mixing jar. Add the sugar, close the lid, swirl it around a little bit, and it eventually will melt. So anyway, that's all you do. Don't add any color. So it's just 4 parts water to 1 part of white, regular, granulated sugar. Okay, that's what you put in your nectars. Okay, so we're done with that. So you want to fill up your nectar. Now, if you don't have like a whole gob of hummingbird feeders, you don't need to put a full, we'll put this down here because that hummingbird's going to try to catch that one. You don't need to fill up your feeder. I mean, it's just going to be a waste of nectar. And by the way, I keep my nectar in the refrigerator during the summer. This is the jar that I use it to stay in the fridge with, and it's glass. I think glass is better than plastic, so I keep it preserved in glass. Anyway, so you'll want to change the nectar in the summertime every 2 to 3 days, but clean your hummingbird feeder out roughly about once a week, okay? And it's best if you can keep it out of direct sunlight. So we've got ours in our covered deck, which is perfect. I think maybe in the evening it gets barely a little bit of sun. So anyway, about that. And so how do you keep the ants and the bees out of your feeder? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a couple things about that. As you can see, let me switch sides here. You see this one right here has an ant guard. You can get these anywhere, Home Depot, Walmart, Pikes, nurseries, anywhere. So the ants will crawl down here. They'll try to get to the nectar, and they won't be able to because they go up into this ant guard and they're gone. They can't get into the nectar. The other thing is, if you have one of these feeders, you see that there is a well right here. You'll just fill that up with water, and the ants try to crawl in there and they drown. They can't get into the nectar. Another thing you can do is, if you've got petroleum jelly or grease, you can slither at the stem of your nectar, and the ants do not like that. So another thing you might want to do to deter the bees from getting in the little flower part is to get some vegetable shortening that you use to cook with. And I just put a little bit of this around the flowers like that. Hummingbirds don't have a sense of smell. They're not going to smell this. And it will keep the bees out. So I just grease up every one of these flowers with the grease. Alrighty, so that's that. So what I want to do is I'm going to step behind the scenes. And if you want to linger here for a minute, you'll see my my little Hummer fly in. Now, we've only been here for like 10 months, and so we don't have all of our Hummers that we had when we were living in Ackworth. But I'll tell you what, people, it's a beautiful show. We come out here and enjoy a glass of wine on the deck, and we watch them. So one of the things I want to tell you is that you'll hear them immediately. When you don't see them, they sound like little helicopters. Another neat thing, let me get some of my facts out. I'm going to go back here. So listen to me talk. Let me see if I can get the camera to get a little bit closer. I'm not sure I can do that. But listen up, and I'm going to give you some fun facts about hummingbirds. One fun fact, this is how much they weigh. You see that? That is a nickel. They weigh about a nickel. Super, super light, little bitty babies. They're the only bird that can fly backwards. Super, super fast. I'm going to sit down here where they can't see me, and if you'll watch, you'll probably see my little guy flying in. And the other thing about hummingbirds, because I saw them just a second ago, the other fun fact about hummingbirds, I think I saw them out there. Their tiny legs are only used for perching and moving sideways while they're perched. Unlike other birds, they can't walk or hop. Pretty amazing. Now, I told you they don't have a sense of smell, so they can't sniff out the feeders, but they do have good color vision. Some birds like the ruby-throated hummingbirds that I mentioned, that I call my little rednecks, they prefer orange or red flowers. And just remember, in spite of this attraction to the color, red dye is not what should be used in nectar because it can be harmful. They are the smallest migrating bird, and they don't migrate in flocks like other species, and they typically travel alone for up to 500 miles at a time. That's why before migrating season in September, you want to change the ratio of your nectar to a 3-to-1 because they will need more calories because they're going to be flying long distances. So they need higher calorie-rich nectar. So keep that in mind. I saw him again. He keeps seeing me. All right. The average number of eggs laid by female hummingbirds is only 2. These eggs have been found in nests smaller than a $50. And compare that in size to a jelly bean or a coffee bean. So some species like the black-chinned hummingbird make their nests with the plant down, spider silk, and other natural sources that can expand as their babies grow after they hatch. Isn't that really neat? There are over 330 species of hummingbirds in North and South America. But the most common species in the U.S., and especially in Georgia, is the rufous. The Anna's hummingbird, calliope, the broad-tailed hummingbird, the ruby-throated, my little rednecks, and the black-chinned hummingbird. There's a few facts. Hang here. I think he'll show up here in just a moment. If not, I'm going to sign out. But if you've got any questions, let me know. And let me remind you, don't kill the bees. You're going to see some bees attracted. We need our bees to pollinate. I'm not crazy about yellow jackets, but don't kill your gardening bees. They're very, very important. What else can I share with you? Let's see. I've covered all the highlights, but like I said, just shoot me some questions. You can go online, find out a lot of information. on the GeorgiaWildlife.com website about hummingbirds in your backyard. So he's afraid to come back up because I think he can actually hear me. So get your feeders started. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to sign off for now. Vicki Bates, enjoying our backyard. Y'all have a great day.